Hi, I'm Steve Sample with Bama Talk. Don't miss a single episode of Bama Talk Show, available now on iTunes, Stitcher, or your favorite podcast app, and on the web at bigbrainsmedia.com.
This is your Weather Xtreme video for Christmas, December the 25th. I'm meteorologist Brian Peters. Merry Christmas to all. There's a look at the sky cam from Fayette this morning with the sun rising on a nice clear sky. And then I couldn't help but just enjoy the beautiful Tennessee River shot from Decatur as we look out at the sunrise there from the Decatur sky cam. High pressure over the eastern half of the country is keeping things rather dry for much of the country. Just a little bit of mischief up in the western Great Lakes. In the upper atmosphere, the trough that we have been watching has moved off to the east, and our pattern is flattening somewhat, but we maintain this long wave trough position over the eastern half of the country with a series of short waves moving through the flow that'll help to keep the atmosphere fairly chilly over the eastern half of the country. And speaking of chilly, it is cold over much of the country. Everything that's in blue is essentially freezing or below. We got a lot of single digits over New England and into New York. So it is very, very chilly across the U.S. today on this Christmas morning. Across central Alabama, temperatures dip back into the upper teens and lower 20s for the most part. So it is a rather nippy morning, but we do expect temperatures to rise a little bit warmer today than yesterday, and we should get into the 40s. Rainfall-wise, not expecting a great deal of rain over the next 5 days in central Alabama, but it does look like a surface low in the Gulf will produce some rain over Florida and parts of the southeastern U.S. Where that low forms is going to determine a great deal as to exactly who gets rain and who doesn't. We'll talk about that in a minute. Here's the morning 06E GFS model run, and there's the surface high over stretching from upper New England or northern New England all the way down to the mid-Atlantic states and nosing back across the southeastern U.S. In the upper atmosphere on Thursday, the day after Christmas, we see that little short wave move on through, and the overall pattern stays as a trough over the eastern part of the country. So the long wave trough position stays there, but the Gulf is cut off. So with high pressure settling in, once again, it's just going to stay fairly cool. We do see a change coming on Friday with a fairly strong short wave, fairly low latitude short wave over Oklahoma and North Texas. And at the surface, that is expected to develop a bit of a surface low in the Gulf of Mexico. Now, right now, the GFS is suggesting that as that comes in, it will sharpen up just a little bit, and therefore the surface low should form in the central Gulf of Mexico. The GFS suggesting that much of the rain is going to be over South Alabama. So we'll be watching that, because if the low is just a little further north, then that means North Alabama and Central Alabama could get more rain than what we're expecting at the moment. So we'll be watching that. But that shortwave trough moves off and fills just a little bit as it heads into the mid-Atlantic states on Sunday. It'll take that surface low up off of New Jersey with a cold front that's coming in, and you can see the colder air coming back into West Texas as the 540 line is dipping back rather far south. The overall trough over the eastern half of the country does sharpen up some on Monday the 30th, and we see a little disturbance moving through the flow that might cause some rain or showers and maybe the potential for some winter weather concerns over the Gulf Coast on Monday. But you can see the 540 line dipping all the way down into southern Mississippi. So once again, the idea of a cold end to 2013 is certainly there. The last day of 2013, the pattern flattens just a little bit, but you can see it's still very active with another strong short wave coming in over Nebraska. And then when we get out to the first of the year, once again, the overall long wave pattern is over the eastern half of the country, so we're going to stay in a colder type of pattern. Now, looking out into Voodoo country, we do have some interesting weather to speculate about, and that is look at the closed low drop into almost the Ohio River Valley on the 3rd. And this one could cause some interesting issues with a strong surface low and perhaps even a major winter storm for the northeastern U.S. as well as parts of the Ohio River Valley and central U.S., and maybe even some winter weather concerns all the way down into the southeastern U.S. But it's not a forecast just yet. You know how it is in voodoo country. And certainly when we get out to the end of the period, around the 9th of January, we certainly see that the overall idea of a cold pattern is still with us. And so we'll have to be watching for any kind of disturbances that might create any winter weather issues. But for now, it just looks like it's going to be cold. Well, that'll do it for the Weather Xtreme video. I expect to have the next one posted on Thursday by 8 a.m. or so. In the meantime, I hope you have a wonderful Christmas day. Merry Christmas and Godspeed.
Thank you for trusting us to be your #1 source for news
in all of Central Alabama.
in back-to-back ratings periods.
More people watched ABC 3340
than any other station in Birmingham.